Hello people of the verse and welcome back to the channel. It's the Eradicator, and in today's video we will have a look at Star Citizen's position amongst the microcosmos of space games, as it does appear that somehow it is getting more traction among communities that were not supporting the project that much until now, and we will see that this perhaps has something to do with the release of Elite Dangerous Odyssey, the latest addition to Star Citizen's arch rival game from Frontier Developments. But before we move on, if you enjoy my work, please help me out by clicking that subscribe button. Only half of my regular viewers are subscribed, and subscribing to this channel really helps me with the YouTube algorithm, as it makes this channel more visible on the platform. Also, subscribing to this channel and my new channel, The Eradicators, which is where I cover gaming in general, can allow you to win this awesome Nova tank I'm giving away this month. All you have to do is to subscribe to both channels and answer the giveaway question I'll ask later throughout this video. Also, if you want to go the extra mile like Zero Spectre and Kevin Lytle, who have recently upgraded their pledges, please consider joining the Rad Club by signing up on Patreon or via the join button as well, where you have access to perks like an invite to my private Discord channel, where I'm having monthly giveaways, and this month it's an RSI Scorpius with LTI. So, what is going on with Star Citizen, and why does it appear to be getting more and more attention and positive feedback from the likes of TechLinked or even Obsidian Ant, who has been Elite Dangerous's most prominent content creator and often a critic of Star Citizen? Well, I believe that this has to do with the ongoing discontentment within the Elite Dangerous community in regards to the release of its latest release, Odyssey, which many say that had been terribly botched, a terribly botched release, something that many people can observe through the comment sections of the various content creators covering the topic, and especially the game's Steam page, which features an average of mostly negative comments. And to give you an idea of the scale of the issue here, we're not talking about a few hundreds of reviews, but several thousands of them. And amongst the various griefs people have towards the game, we often see people complain about how the expansion feels rushed, featuring a myriad of bugs and poor optimization. People are also not happy that players are separated between platforms and between players who own the expansion and people who don't. And it also looks like people are displeased that the game still revolves around grinding, including a new kind of grind if you want to upgrade your suits and weapons, although I would say that this is not entirely true, as I was able to buy level 3 suits and guns from some shops around the galaxy, but I would admit here that they are very rare indeed. Overall, where the outrage lies is not necessarily that the game is bugged or lacks much content according to what we can see. It does seem that the problem is a little deeper. And you see, people seem to have a problem that Frontier released Elite Dangerous Odyssey, which is an expansion, at the price of a full game and in a state that looks more like an alpha than a complete polished feature game. And one of the comments on Steam from a person called Tio Nusude, I hope I didn't butcher his name, perfectly sums up the situation, as they say that Frontier pulled a Star Citizen in reverse, with Elite Dangerous going from a state of full release to the state of being de facto an alpha version, something that Star Citizen never ceased to be since it has been playable in 2014, but at the same time this is also something that they've always claimed to be, no more than less than an alpha and not a fully released game. So what kind of coverage has Star Citizen had over the past couple of days from people outside of the regular Star Citizen community then? Well, first, they do remind their audience that Star Citizen is still very much an alpha, and that at this stage bugs are still expected, and that we get to experience what we get to experience in the game is yet to be iterated again and again and again until one day the day reaches its release form. What is also being talked about is, and that is really something that has been emphasized more and more, is just how immersive and believable the game is, with a planet tech that is just like no other due to how gorgeous and realistic it looks, despite the planets being reduced to a sixth of the size they would have in real life, and the ability to walk on foot around settlements, which can be as large as entire cities, and being seamlessly able to transition from your cockpit to the outside world is also something that a lot of outsiders are praising more and more. And sure, at this stage it is still pointing out that the verse only features a single star system, which is scheduled to be finally completed within a couple of weeks with the addition of Crusader, the very first ever completely fully explorable gas giant, which is something that has never been done in a video game industry before, something that was also hinted as far back as 2014 by David Brabham himself, the founder of Frontier and the creator of the Elite games, and yet Star Citizen is delivering first and quite in an incredible fashion, as we can see in this footage. Meanwhile, we are not going to get those gas giants in Elite Dangerous anytime soon, unfortunately. Now, I will admit that I have not jumped into the bandwagon of people that have been bashing Elite Dangerous Odyssey. Being an original Star Citizen and Elite Dangerous fan and backer, I appreciate both games, and I have seen and experienced the development, where they're coming from, and when having and also I've been able to have a look at their current statuses as well. And when I do that comparison, I can definitely I'm definitely able to say which game is making which kind of progress that we are expecting or not. I believe that this is allowing me to get a balanced point of view. I hope so, at least. But anyway, before the release of Elite Dangerous Odyssey, I had gotten to a point in which I was barely playing the game. I had lost my interest in the title, and I ended up solely focusing on Star Citizen for the reason I mentioned earlier: the immersion, the fidelity, and the attention to details. Elite Dangerous Odyssey did renew my interest in the title, especially the FPS combat aspect of it, which I do find enjoyable. I especially enjoy the fact that the game's NPCs are responsive, effective, and dangerous overall, and I find it fun to hop in and have a dynamic and action-packed fight in one of the new FPS combat zones, something we can't say about Star Citizen's first-person combat NPCs due to their server issues that have been plaguing the game for years now, something that Cloud Imperium games are very aware of and are actively working on. Now, that being said, although I have been defending the game more than I probably should have, and my buddy DG360 will probably agree, I will admit also that Elite Dangerous Odyssey has failed to live up to the expectations of most players, myself included. And given how low my expectations were, I think that it says quite a lot. You see, the only thing that I was expecting from Elite Dangerous, were planets that would look much more different than what we previously had. And while the newly explorable planets with thin atmospheres do look different than what we previously got to experience, they still are a far cry from what we get to experience when we descend into one of Star Citizen's atmospherical worlds, and especially they do look different than what we've seen in the Elite Dangerous Odyssey trailers that Frontier released ahead of publishing the expansion, which is a disappointment in itself because a lot of people, including myself, saw in those trailers planet that could rival and possibly best Star Citizen's own planets, but in the end it turned out to be smoke and mirrors, and the reality became apparent rather quickly. Developing fully explorable planets with liquids and a dynamic weather with volumetric clouds takes years and tens of millions of dollars, something that Star Citizen backers have accepted and paid for, and it is only now, 7 years after Star Citizen backers were asked if they wanted to take this very long and tiring route to having fully explorable planets developed, that the tens of thousands of man-hours spent by Cloud Imperiums in research and developments are finally starting to be acknowledged by the broader public. Yes, naysayers did say that Star Citizen has achieved what was not possible. They still do. They still say that Star Citizen is aiming at doing things that are not possible when it comes to the required server technology that's required to make the game run at a large scale, something that we are yet to see, yet that we expect to have a glance at by the end of this year. However, we've also seen that Frontier's approach to releasing a finished yet shallow product first and then building upon it does not work, as it has become clear with Elite Dangerous Odyssey's fiasco. The reality is that Frontier is a publicly traded company with private investors that do want to have a return on investment. The reality is that Frontier just can't afford to spend hundreds of millions of dollars into developing groundbreaking technologies that will take years or even a decade to come into fruition. Elite Dangerous Odyssey was made with a fraction of that budget and only features a fraction of what Star Citizen has to offer in terms of game environments and interaction. And as time passes by and Star Citizen gradually gets added more and more featured, and it has been in development for many years, it is also starting to show that more and more, even through the eyes of those who have been critiquing the game, like for example Obsidian Ant, who, to put it mildly, has not been Star Citizen's biggest fan over the past couple of years. Now, is this a victory lap for Star Citizen, the supposedly grand winner of the Battle of Space Sims? And I wouldn't say so, but please let me know what you think, as this is the giveaway question. I think that Star Citizen still has plenty of occasions to fail at delivering expectations throughout the years to come, especially when it comes to making the AI work and having proper servers able to mesh into one another to allow for a higher player count per instance. However, when it comes to planetary experience, there is nothing like Star Citizen, and now that the competition has tried and failed, it is becoming clear that creating fully explorable worlds is not an easy task, and that without being able to spend tens of millions of dollars into it to make it work, it's almost impossible to create a compelling, believable, and immersive game universe that will make players want to spend hundreds, if not thousands of hours of lives into. With that comes the end of this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this type of content, please give this video a like, as it helps a lot. Also, if you are considering getting Star Citizen for yourself, you can get a bonus of 5,000 UEC, the in-game money, by entering the code you will find in the description down below. I wish you all a wonderful day. Take care, everyone. This is the Eradicator, and I will see you guys later. This video is brought to you by the people who support this channel on Patreon and via the join button as well. Supporters of the channel get access to lots of cool perks, such as access to my private Discord, your question answered in the show, you get to know when I'm going to play, and also you get to have a chance to influence the editorial line of the channel. Any help is appreciated, starts at just $1 a month. Thank you very much for watching. This is the Eradicator, and I'll see you guys later.